Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, my dear brothers and sisters. Today, I want to share something deeply urgent, something that could literally be the difference between living out the full, blessed span Allah has written for you or cutting it short by years, sometimes decades. The reality is this: 99% of the chosen ones will pass away much faster than they should, and the reason isn't because of random chance or mysterious forces, but because of certain avoidable, destructive patterns in life that silently drain your body, weaken your spirit, and distance you from divine protection. This is not a small matter. And if you feel you are among those whom Allah has selected for a greater mission in life, then this message is especially for you. You see, being chosen means you are called to live with a higher awareness, a sharper sense of purpose, and a disciplined way of life that others might not understand. You are not here just to pass time. You are here to influence, to guide, to inspire, and to protect others through the light Allah has placed in you. But here is the danger. When you live without guarding that light, without protecting your energy, without honoring your spiritual health, you make yourself an open target for forces and habits that will destroy you long before your mission is complete. Many people imagine that losing years of life is something dramatic, a sudden illness, a catastrophic event. But for the chosen, it often happens in silence. It happens in the unnoticed hours, when you choose distractions over devotion, when you stay up for meaningless pursuits instead of resting for your obligations, when you feed your heart with harmful content instead of nourishing it with what reminds you of Allah. Your body ages faster, your heart grows heavier, your resilience weakens. And before you realize it, you have lost valuable time that you cannot get back. Think about it. The people who are meant to lead others towards truth and goodness should be the most disciplined, the most careful, the most protective over what enters their mind, body, and heart. And yet, the very ones chosen to be examples often find themselves exhausted, distracted, and weakened by things that seem harmless. A small compromise here, a little indulgence there. Each one chips away at the strength Allah blessed you with. My dear brothers and sisters, I want you to picture your life as a beautiful garden that Allah Himself has entrusted you to care for. Every positive habit, every act of worship, every moment spent in gratitude, these are seeds that grow into strong trees that shade and protect you. But every careless choice, every neglected prayer, every toxic influence, these are weeds that choke your garden and starve your soul. A chosen one must be constantly weeding out these dangers because the garden you carry within is not just for you. It's for everyone Allah sends into your life to benefit from your light. This is why this message is urgent. If you are chosen, your time is too precious to be wasted. Your energy is too rare to be drained by things that do not serve your mission. And your health, both spiritual and physical, is too valuable to be squandered. In the coming minutes, I want to show you exactly what these dangers are, how they disguise themselves as harmless, and how you can protect yourself from becoming part of that 99% who leave this world far sooner than they were meant to. This is not about living in fear. It's about living with intention. It's about guarding the life Allah gave you so that you can fulfill your role as one of the chosen in the most complete and powerful way possible. Now, if you think you're ready to hear the truth, brace yourself. Because once you know, you cannot unknow. Once you understand the forces working against you, you will either rise up with discipline or slowly fall into the very trap this warning is meant to help you escape. And I'm praying right now that you will be among those who rise. The first and most dangerous thing that silently shortens the life of a chosen one is neglecting the balance between physical care and spiritual care. You see, some believers get so caught up in their mission, their work, and their responsibilities that they treat their body as if it is just a disposable vehicle, something they can drive endlessly without maintenance. But the truth is, your body is the vessel Allah gave you to carry His message, to serve others, and to perform your acts of worship. If that vessel is neglected, it breaks down sooner, leaving your mission incomplete. I have seen people who are incredibly devoted in their hearts but careless in their habits. They eat whatever is convenient, sleep at irregular hours, ignore signs of stress, and believe they can push themselves endlessly because their cause is noble. But this is like a captain setting out on a long voyage without checking the sails, the ropes, or the hull of the ship. You might start strong, but sooner or later you will sink. Not because your mission wasn't important, but because your vessel was unprepared for the journey. The chosen must understand that taking care of their body is not an act of vanity, but an act of gratitude. When you eat clean food, rest properly, move your body, and avoid harmful substances, you are saying to Allah, I value what you have entrusted to me. When you abuse your body through laziness or overwork, you are sending the opposite message. Remember, you cannot complete your spiritual calling if your physical foundation collapses beneath you. The second danger that eats away at your lifespan is chronic stress, especially the kind you willingly invite. Many chosen ones feel a constant pressure to do more, help more, give more, until they are running on fumes. They say yes to everything, take on other people's burdens, and rarely pause to replenish their own energy. While this sounds selfless, it is actually a subtle form of self-sabotage. Because if you burn yourself out, you are no longer able to serve anyone, not yourself, not your family, not your mission. Some stress comes from unavoidable challenges, but much of it is born from poor boundaries. The chosen need to learn that it's not selfish to say no to things that drain them. It's wise. Every yes you give to something meaningless is a no to something meaningful. Every hour you spend worrying about things you cannot control is an hour stolen from what you can build, protect, and nurture. The third and often overlooked danger is feeding the mind with poison disguised as entertainment or staying informed. The shows, videos, music, and endless social media scrolling, these are not harmless. They slowly shape your mindset, your desires, your standards, and your emotional stability. For a chosen one, this is like pouring sand into the engine of your mission. You cannot expect clarity of thought if you are constantly flooding your brain with noise and negativity. Your mind needs clean inputs if you expect it to produce wise and powerful outputs. Even so-called positive distractions can be dangerous if they keep you from your true calling. I've seen chosen ones spend hours studying topics that have nothing to do with their mission, all while convincing themselves that they're being productive. But productivity is not about staying busy. It's about staying aligned. Anything that takes you further from your divine purpose is not just a distraction, it's a thief of your time and your lifespan. Lastly, there is the hidden killer of resentment and emotional weight. Many chosen ones carry wounds from betrayal, mistreatment, or injustice. And instead of healing, they carry those wounds like badges. This constant emotional strain doesn't just darken the heart. It physically impacts health, weakening the immune system, increasing the risk of illness, and draining years of one's life. The chosen must master the art of forgiveness, not because others deserve it, but because they themselves deserve peace. If you recognize any of these patterns in your own life, don't panic, but don't delay either. Awareness is your first weapon, and change is your second. The moment you start protecting your body, setting healthy boundaries, guarding your mind, and releasing emotional weight, you have already started walking away from the 99% who fade too soon, and towards the 1% who fulfill their mission completely. One of the most underestimated reasons why the majority of chosen ones leave this world earlier than they should is the silent erosion of their spiritual resilience. This doesn't happen overnight. It's a slow leak, like a barrel of water that drips drop by drop until one day it's empty and you didn't even notice it happening. The problem is, many people assume that because they once had a strong connection with Allah, it will automatically stay strong without daily investment. But faith is not a fixed deposit in a bank. It's more like a living plant. If you don't water it, nurture it, and protect it from weeds, it withers. You may start your journey with the fire of purpose in your heart, ready to serve, ready to sacrifice. But as the days turn into months and the months into years, distractions creep in. The constant demands of work, family, social obligations, and even the digital noise of our times begin to chip away at the time and energy you once dedicated to your spiritual growth. Before you know it, the acts of worship that once felt like breathing now feel like optional extras that you'll get to when you have time, which, of course, you never do. When a chosen one starts losing this spiritual anchor, their perception of life changes. They begin to rely more on their own effort and less on divine guidance. They may still say they believe, but their decisions are shaped more by fear, stress, and personal calculation than by trust in Allah. And here's the problem. When you remove the spiritual shield, the storms of life hit you harder. Every challenge feels heavier. Every setback feels permanent, and your mental and emotional health starts to deteriorate. Over time, this constant emotional pressure manifests physically, shaving years of your life. Another trap for chosen ones is confusing activity with connection. You might be involved in a dozen good causes, constantly attending events, speaking about noble topics, sharing reminders online, but none of that guarantees a personal, private relationship with Allah. If your good deeds are not anchored in sincerity and nourished by personal worship, they become like leaves without roots. They might look impressive for a while, but the first storm will tear them away. And let's talk about one of the deadliest toxins for the soul: hidden pride. This is especially dangerous for chosen ones because the very fact that you are working for a noble cause can become a source of ego. You might start thinking that you are indispensable, that your opinion is always right, or that your position means you are somehow above others. This attitude corrodes the heart, blocks blessings, and can cause Allah to remove you from the mission entirely. That is a loss far greater than any physical illness, because it means losing the very purpose you were chosen for. There's also the issue of inconsistent repentance. Chosen ones are not perfect. They make mistakes like anyone else. But the difference between those who endure and those who burn out is the speed at which they return to Allah after a slip. Some chosen ones let guilt fester, telling themselves, "I've fallen too far, I'll fix myself later," while continuing the same harmful patterns. This is like leaving a small wound untreated until it becomes an infection that spreads through the whole body. Immediate repentance cleanses the wound before it becomes deadly. To safeguard your spiritual resilience, you need daily intentional habits. You cannot rely on "I'll worship when I feel inspired," because feelings are unreliable companions. Instead, anchor your life around fixed points of spiritual nourishment, times in the day when no matter what happens, you pause everything to reconnect with your Creator. Guard those moments fiercely. Treat them as more important than any meeting, any phone call, any errand. Here's the reality. The chosen ones who last, who complete their mission, who live long enough to see the fruits of their calling, are not always the strongest, fastest, or even the most talented. They are the ones who consistently refill their spiritual tank before it runs dry. They know that without that connection, they are just a body moving through the world. But with it, they are a soul. They are a soul that can feel, feel, and feel again. They are a force that the world cannot ignore. If you want to avoid being part of that 99% who burn out early, you must protect your spiritual core as if your entire life depends on it. Because it does. The storms will come, the distractions will multiply, and the responsibilities will pile up. But if your roots are deep, you will not just survive, you will thrive, outlasting the ones who had all the passion in the beginning, but none of the discipline to sustain it. Another major reason why so many chosen ones leave this world faster than expected is the slow, almost invisible build-up of toxic emotional states. Things like resentment, bitterness, and unprocessed pain. These are not just bad moods you shake off. They are spiritual and physical poisons that eat away at your health, your relationships, and your purpose. People often underestimate how deeply the state of the heart affects the state of the body. You can be eating the best diet, exercising regularly, and taking vitamins every morning. But if your heart is filled with anger, jealousy, or grudges, it's like drinking a glass of clean water laced with a drop of poison every single day.
The danger for chosen ones is that, because they are often betrayed, misunderstood, or even targeted by others, they can slowly start carrying an invisible suitcase of pain everywhere they go. They might not even notice how heavy it has become because they've grown used to it. But this weight changes how they see the world. They become quicker to judge, slower to trust, and less open to opportunities. This emotional armor might feel protective, but in reality, it is suffocating them from the inside. When you hold on to resentment, you are essentially giving free rent in your heart to the very people or situations that hurt you. You carry them around, replaying what they did, feeding the memory like a pet you secretly hate but refuse to get rid of. Over time, this constant inner replay not only drains your energy, but also keeps you from fully focusing on your mission. It's like trying to run a marathon while dragging a bag of bricks behind you. No wonder so many chosen ones collapse before reaching the finish line. My dear brothers and sisters, we have walked together through a message that is both a warning and a call to action. If you are a chosen one, your journey is not ordinary. You have been handpicked for a mission so significant that the unseen realm takes notice every time you take a step forward. That means your battles will be greater, your challenges deeper, and your moments of testing more intense. But it also means your reward will be beyond measure if you endure. You must remember that being a chosen one is not simply about carrying a title. It's about carrying a responsibility. It's about living with purpose in every breath you take, being intentional about every word you speak, and knowing that your influence reaches far beyond what you can see with your eyes. The way you respond to difficulties will inspire people you don't even know are watching. The way you persevere will strengthen the faith of others who are silently struggling. But none of this can happen if you allow yourself to be worn down and destroyed before your time. The dangers we have discussed are not theoretical. They are real. And if you ignore them, they will catch you unaware. The enemy's greatest strategy against the chosen ones is not always a direct confrontation. It is often a slow erosion, bit by bit, day by day, until the fire in you fades and you become too weary to fight back. This is why I urge you today to be proactive. Do not wait for the breaking point before you seek help. Do not wait until you have no strength left before you turn to your Creator for renewal. Make it your habit to guard your heart and mind daily. Build rhythms of rest into your life. Surround yourself with people who can encourage you, challenge you, and pray for you when you are too tired to pray for yourself. And above all, never forget that your strength comes from the one who called you. Chosen ones are not invincible. They are sustained. And the one sustaining you has promised to never leave you nor abandon you. Even in your darkest moments, even when the world misunderstands you, even when the path ahead feels impossible, He's there. Your calling was not given to you because you were the strongest, the smartest, or the most qualified.
It was given to you because He knew that with His help you could accomplish what no one else could. So stand tall. Do not let fear dictate your decisions. Do not let exhaustion silence your voice. Do not let discouragement rob you of the impact you were created to make. Remember that your very presence on this earth is an answer to someone's prayer. You were placed here intentionally for this time, for this generation. And now, as I promised at the beginning, I will close with a heartfelt prayer for every single one of you who has listened to this message until the very end. May the Almighty wrap you in His protection and shield you from every harm that seeks to destroy you. May He renew your strength daily so that you never grow weary in doing good. May He surround you with people who uplift you and guard you against those who wish you harm. May your heart remain steadfast, your mind clear, and your spirit unshakable. May every plan of the enemy against you be turned into an opportunity for your growth and testimony. And may you live long enough to fulfill every single part of the mission He has entrusted to you, leaving behind a legacy of faith, courage, and light for generations to come. You are not alone. You are not forgotten. You are chosen, and your story is far from over. Keep going, my dear brothers and sisters, because the best chapter of your life is still being written.